We are less than 24 hours away from the Great American Race. That's right, the Daytona 500 is tomorrow. Time flies when you're having fun, and the off season has blown by. Clash has blown by. Daytona 500 qualifying, the duels. Tomorrow is the big day, so we're going to talk about it. Going to talk about the favorites, talk about my predictions, talk about some former winners, all that stuff. We're going to preview the Daytona 500. The Daytona 500 is a 200-lap race around a 2.5-mile track, the Daytona International Speedway. This will be the 65th edition of the Daytona 500. And it's the 75th year of NASCAR, so whoever wins, that is going to be a big deal to kick off NASCAR's 75th anniversary with a win, and then also to win the 65th edition of the Daytona 500 will be a big deal. Should be a fun race tomorrow. It's the second year of the next-gen car. The defending winner of this race is Austin Cindric. He won it as a rookie last year. Speaking of former winners, let's look at who in the current field has won the Daytona 500 before. Joey Logano, as I said just a second ago, Austin Cindric. Michael McDowell won it in 2021. Kevin Harvick won it in 2007. Back to Logano, he won it in 2015. Denny Hamlin has won it 3 times. Austin Dillon won it in 2018. And Jimmy Johnson, he returns to NASCAR action. He is a 2-time Daytona 500 champion. If you are sitting here like, wow, Jimmy Johnson's back, I didn't know that. I made a full season preview just last week, so go check out that video. We talk about all the big changes, all of the new faces in NASCAR in 2023. There are also some champions, some Cup Series champions, who have yet to win the Daytona 500. They're looking for their first win in the Great American Race. Those guys are Kyle Larson, the 2021 champion, Chase Elliott, the 2020 champion, Brad Keselowski, the 2012 champion, Martin Truex Jr., the 2017 champion, and 2-time champion Kyle Busch. He won his championships in 2015, 2019. He also has not won a Daytona 500. So yes, here are the favorites for the race. Just this quick little snapshot of the favorites. Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano, the co-favorites after practice and qualifying. Denny Hamlin is a favorite, is no shock. He's a great super speedway racer. As I said, he is a 3-time Daytona 500 champion. He's won at Talladega a couple times. This is his style of racetrack. He's been really good at Daytona, Talladega, super speedway races. And he's looking to make some more history with a 4th Daytona 500. Now, as for the race itself, what will we see? We've only had 1 Daytona 500 with the next-gen car. We've only had 2 races at Daytona with the next-gen car. So it's really hard to definitively say what's going to happen. So what's the most recent thing we can look at? The duels, maybe? Let's look at the duels. The duels were a tale of 2 emotions. One was calm, one was fine, with a little bit of an exciting finish. The other one was hectic, chaotic, fire, crashing, and chaos. So, yeah, it was 2 very different races. That first race, single file most of the race, really calm, nothing happened, kind of boring. And at the end there, though, it was a really exciting finish. We saw 2, even 3 wide at times, but as drivers have shown before, if you just look at the fall race at Talladega last year, it's really hard to get that third line going. I think Denny Hamlin said in his podcast, you can't get that third line going unless you have 6 or 7 cars. You know, back in the past, with the past super speedway package, you could have 3 or 4 cars, maybe start a lineup, but you really got to have a lot of cars to get a line going to even have a chance, especially with that top line. It's just the way that these cars are designed, the way the next-gen car is. That's the fact, is that these cars cannot form 3 lines at these super speedways, so you only see 2 lines really, unless it's coming to the checkered flag, someone pulls out, and at that point, it's every man for himself, and there's no really lines. It's just going for it at that point. So, but also the track surface seems a little bit bumpier than it used to be. It is about a decade old, maybe a little bit older, but you saw that. You saw a lot more bouncing, it seemed like, in terms of the cars on the track. A lot of these cars have new noses. I think the Chevys have a new nose, and maybe the Fords as well. So the bump drafting, the hitting is a bit different, and you got to hit him at the right angle. We saw in the duels, Kyle Busch was leading. Daniel Suarez hit him at a bad angle, and it caused a crash, took Kyle Busch out of the race, took a couple other guys out of the race. And yeah, so the bump drafting is going to be very important. You got to hit him at the right angle, but this is the type of track where we see a lot of wrecks at. So I would say it's the Daytona 500. Expect some wrecks. Expect the big one to happen at some point. And when it's late in the race, expect chaos. If there's a late race restart, chaos. You never know what's going to happen in these late race restarts. Yeah, so now it's time for my prediction. Who do I think will win the Daytona 500? Lots of different storylines coming into this race. Jimmy Johnson in his big return to NASCAR. Travis Pastrana making his first Cup Series start. The adrenaline-seeking Travis Pastrana. What can he do? Then you could look at the favorites. You look at Denny Hamlin looking for his 4th Daytona 500. Joey Logano looking for his 2nd. You got a lot of Cup champions who are looking for their 1st Daytona 500. And you got some young guys who haven't quite won a championship, haven't quite won a lot of races, but they're looking for their first 500. Tyler Reddick, could he sneak up there and do something? Well, I tell you what. I know this is going to be a bold prediction. But he could never win the Daytona 500 with his first 2 teams. 2 powerhouse teams. He watched his teammates win Daytona 500s. He watched Jimmy Johnson win the Daytona 500 as a teammate. He watched Denny Hamlin win multiple 500s as a teammate. This year, with the refresh, he could never win it with Gibbs or Hendrick. With the refresh and with the backup car, I think Kyle Busch wins the Daytona 500. Chevrolet has not won a 500 since 2018, and that was with Kyle Busch's current teammate, Austin Dillon. Fords and Toyotas have really dominated this race. Dominated. I think that's the right term. Chevys have dominated qualifying, Toyotas and Fords the race, but I think a Chevy gets it done this weekend. I think Kyle Busch is that Chevy to get it done. We'll see. Tomorrow we will see. Watch him crash early, and then I look like an idiot. But yes, that is all I have for the Daytona 500 preview. Let me know what your thoughts are. Who do you think will win the Great American Race this year? I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad for NASCAR to be back. Make sure to tune in to the Xfinity race at an hour and a half from now as this is filming. So I guess whenever this, just 5 Eastern, 4 Central. That's when you should tune in. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow for the Daytona 500.